I don't see anything, and I look back, and I don't know what's going on, but I do see things darting, like, and it just all of a sudden we saw someone, and it was like a shadow.
There's a force in all of us that science knows nothing about, the force of fear.
Welcome, everyone, to Induced Fear. I'm your host, Oscar, and with me for this episode, this has been a year in the making, probably more. We don't know. We tried to discuss it beforehand. But I have Bryan and Jim of the Mid-Ohio Jedi Order. What's up, guys?
How you doing? What's happening?
Finally, damn it. Finally.
Oh, finally.
Yeah,
Okay.
finally. Yeah, it's a year in the making for you guys to come on. You guys have stories to share. I mean, I've got, bits of them, as you've told me them, the things that you've seen. So I think instead of jumping right in, I want to know, we'll go with Bryan first. What makes you like the world of the paranormal?
Wow, that's a good question. I've I've always kind of liked like the horror genre, scary things. Um, my aunt, um, she ran a haunted house, one of the haunted houses that you would pay to go into, and people would be dressed up to scare you.
Oh,
She
cool.
ran one of those, and when I was in, uh, I I think middle school and high school, there were a couple times where I was able to work with her in those haunted houses. So I was Hannibal Lecter one time, got to wear the straight jacket and the half mask. Um,
Cool.
there's good times with
Yeah.
that where I got punched in the face once by somebody walking through. I didn't see them, and had my face up against a cage, and uh, they were kind of lagging behind, and I had said something about "Wow, you're ugly" or something like that because someone yelled at me and said something, and I said something back, and I was young, and the guy was thinking I said it to him, hit me, and then I got to see him be arrested because you can't do that at haunted houses. You don't
No.
touch people, no matter what they say. They're there to piss you off and to say nasty things. Either way, yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, even with that, and at, later on, uh, was asked by a friend of mine in a wrestling team at a different school if I wanted to help out with a haunted trail with a buddy of mine, and I had a lot of fun with that. We had our own section, and I mean, I went in there with a lot more knowledge than I think I even knew about. We were digging like little holes and putting couch cushions in it, and then covering them slightly so that when you'd step down, you're like, "What the hell was
Yeah,
that?"
that's really cool.
Oh, it was a good time. I had so much fun, and found out at some point that I had a nice little clown cackle that I would use to scare the crap out of people, and I don't know, that just it just stemmed from there and
Yeah.
moved forward, and
Progress
now
further into that world.
yeah, so
Okay. Did you ever think you would have any experiences? Like once you got into the stuff, did you think one day I'm probably gonna see something, or that'll never happen to me?
well, most of the stuff that well, I can't say most of the stuff, but a lot of the things that I have written down to talk about, a lot of them, man, I can't even say a lot of them. I don't there's a lot of things that have happened to me that were back in my younger years.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I ever really thought about it like that. I know, I don't know. You know what? To come back on this real quick, and I know that I jumped, but that question that you asked me, I just now thought of some of my first um reaction or my first experience.
Yeah.
I remember coming down the stairs, like real quiet, sneaking down the stairs, and watching from the stairs, like poking through the stair, the
Yeah.
pedestals, whatever those are called, and watching Return of the Living Dead uh, while my dad was watching it and my mom was at
Yeah.
work, and I was supposed to be in bed, and that scene in the graveyard, uh,
Okay. I was just
just
gonna ask, was it the
just
scene in the
before it
graveyard?
rained, yeah, that was when I got found out. He turned around and was like, "What are you doing up?" I'm like, "Whoops."
I'm awake, but also awakening something inside me.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. 2 things.
now, yeah, yeah. What about you, Jim? What was your
uh,
introduction into it?
well, I mean, my brother always liked horror movies, growing up around it, and mainly like the first time of like really believing or seeing anything was like at a nearby park. So like, and looking back at it now, it could have been my childish brain, but other people were seeing stuff too. So my first was in like mostly disbelief, but seeing it repetitiously uh, kind of made me a little bit more aware. So like kind of like uh, I don't know, really, it's just I didn't really expect to see that stuff. Like I always thought it was just like movies and having it kind
Yeah.
of like happening in front of me. It's like what? And like now looking at it, I'm like maybe it was my kid brain, but then I've also had recent like stuff, and it's like now there's some kind of energy there. Damn it.
Yeah.
So
You try to explain it away until you can't.
yeah.
So I don't know which one of you guys would want to go first in sharing your experiences. I don't know if you want to bounce between each other or one go through theirs and then the other one go through.
What do you wanna
Um,
start with, Jim? Right.
I'm kind of good with whatever. Like I said, I got a couple that I just learned from my mother-in-law. So, um, or I already know that you and I have had know about the park, so
Mhm.
I can uh, jump around with you.
Alright, where would you like to start, Oscar? I have on my list, uh, the park which he's talking about, Watchers, uh, UFOs, um, premonitions, haunted houses, not the ones I was talking about earlier. Um, some things learned about the house that I live in now, things that I know about my brother's house, and
Oh, I don't want to
something
know
something about
that.
yeah, right, something about a house that a friend of ours bought at some point in time. So we just got we got houses, we got UFOs.
well,
Where do you want to start?
yeah, no. Let's start with the park that you guys both because was that part of your both of your kind of initial like experiences, like one of the first few?
Yeah,
Then yeah,
yeah,
then yeah,
yeah.
we'll go with the park because if you guys both experienced it together, then those are more lead more to like all right, I'm not just seeing something, somebody else saw this with me, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we can go with
Okay.
that.
Well, I can start because I know how it started, and then I can we can let Jim dive in. It's at some certain point whenever Jim, you let me know
Yeah.
when you start to come in like with knowledge of the situation because
okay.
I don't remember how much of it you were there for or how much
Uh,
of it you were aware of because you were a lot younger.
yeah, I remember getting my ass drugged there, and then getting all this knowledge afterwards.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, that was probably irresponsible, but
Not really drug. I went willingly, but like still.
right. So we lived in a trailer park. Um, it was the mid 90s. We lived in a trailer park. I was in high school. Um, Jim was in elementary school. Um, and the trailer park we lived at the base of a hill. And the hill had a gate, and there were there was a parking lot on the other side of the gate. Excuse me. And there was a road that led up the hill to a pump house. On one side of that road, there was a parking lot where people would store their campers or their boats, or if they had a vehicle that they needed to not be in front of their trailer, because, it's a trailer park. You don't have a whole lot of parking. That was there. On the other side of that road, little one lane road, there was a huge field, and that's where we played baseball in the summer, football, stuff like that. It's a very
Lightsaber
large
fight.
field. What?
Lightsaber fight.
Lightsaber fight. Yeah, we did that too. All kinds of great stuff. This is where that started.
Yeah.
Up at the pump house, just beyond the pump house, there was actually a playground. There was a basketball court, and then just a bunch of trees, teeter totters on the left hand side, and then beyond that there was a slide, swing set, and then a witch's hat, which I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it looked like a witch's hat, and you hang from it, and there were chains, and it would spin. It was on a pole.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I'm
And then there
picturing what
was
you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and then there was a merry-go-round, I think, thing in the back corner. That's the layout of everything. So when you come up, basketball court, everything's beyond that. And then there's a tree line, and there's woods behind that. The woods we used to play in, never anything there. Paranormal as far as we know. We did all that younger age. So my friend, buddy, and I, my friend Jake comes over and says, "Hey, I need you to come up here with me." And I say, "Okay, let's go." So he and I, and this is the part I can't remember is which time was which. I'm thinking I can't remember if I went up there a time before. No, I'm thinking it was probably one time. So me, I can't remember if it was one time just me and him, or if it was the first time I went up there was me, him, and another guy. But I think it was just me, him, and another guy. It's been so long. Mid-90s was a long time ago. So we'll walk up the hill, me, Jake, and
There was a third because I remember you telling me this part.
okay.
I don't remember that person because it was like they were here and then they were not after that. So like I don't know.
Yeah, it was Ewok. That was his nickname.
Yep.
And I remember his last name, but I don't want to say that. And there were three people
Yeah.
with the same last name, and I can't remember his first name. And that sucks because I like that guy, but it's been 30 years. So, Ewok, we'll just stick with his nickname. Ewok, Jake, and I walk up to the park. We get to the basketball court, and Jake won't go any farther. And he says, "Okay, guys, we got to stay here." And it's dark. And I remember it's uh October it's October 6th, I believe. Yes. It's my mom's birthday. That's why I remember this. It's October 6th. We're up top. We're up at the park. I can't remember what year it is, but I'm pretty sure it's like 96, 97. We stay at the basketball court, and we're standing there, and Jake's like, "Just watch." It's about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, so it's dark enough. He's like, "Watch. Just watch." So we're just kind of standing there, and we're watching, and we're looking, and we're like, "I don't know what's going on." And I'm smoking. We all smoke. Smoking cigarettes, chatting, whatever. Jake's beyond screwed up. He's so scared. And I'm
No.
just kind of like, what is up? So we're looking, and then I start to see, like, things out of the corner of your eye. Like you see things moving, just a shadow. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, Okay, standing there, and Ewok went, "What the fuck?" Sorry. And
You're good.
he
Yeah,
looks
is Cuss
over.
allowed?
We all look. Yeah, that's why I was like, sorry. I'm not sure about the cussing. We both look over, and I don't see anything, and I look back, and it's like, I don't know what's going on, but I do see things darting, like, and it just all of a sudden we saw someone, and it was like a shadow. And it's weird because you always hear about these shadow demons or shadow creatures that have like these red
Yeah.
eyes. No red eyes. They were orange. They were like an orangish, almost yellow, like, and you didn't always see them. It was just like a glimpse. And for the most part, you just saw the outline of a person, but you could see a very detailed outline of a person. There were three. There was a man in a very, very nice suit. He was walking around leisurely, like he owned the place, like literally.
Okay.
And he would go behind a tree and then would be all the way across the park. All of a sudden, walking out from another tree, he'd walk this way and was over here, and it was just kind of like, what the hell, You're like,
Yeah. Like if
what's
he was
going on?
teleporting, like
Yes.
right.
And then there was another guy who was kind of just, you couldn't really tell what he was wearing because he was very sporadically moving. He would kind of peek out from behind a tree and then back real quick, and then he was over here peeking out behind this tree, and he was back. But you could tell it was a guy. It was two dudes. But when we saw the woman, that's when we freaked out. We saw. Remember, the layout was there's a slide and the far back, and then there's a teeter totter, like teeter totter, and then there's some field, and then basketball court. We're on the basketball court, looking straight towards the teeter totter. Well, in between the teeter totter and the slide, this woman just kind of shows up. And I swear, like every time I tell this story, like it freaks me out just a little bit because it's like I remember it so vividly. It's odd because that's when I noticed the orange eyes because I'm not sure if that's the first time I saw them. That's when I noticed it.
Yeah.
And also, she was walking towards the teeter totter towards us, and her hair was flowing in one direction, and the dress that she had on was flowing in the opposite direction. It was weird. It was like
Weird.
the wind
Yeah.
was blowing two different directions. It was odd. And she started walking, and then once she got to the teeter totter, she started floating and floated through the teeter totter. And Jake and I turned like automatic heel turn, and we're like, "Fuck this!" And sorry, and
You're good.
um, started to run, and just happened to look over our shoulder, and Ewok's just standing there, and we grab him, and we're like, "Dude, we gotta go!" And he just, I mean, just gone. We're grabbing him
Yeah.
and shaking him. Finally, pick him up. I throw him over my shoulder, and we run down the hill. We get to the bottom of the hill, and he is like, "What the hell's going on?" And it's just like literally like he just woke up. And the
Yeah.
guy was a stoner. I'm gonna give every time I tell the story, they're like, "Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he kind of smoked himself a little bit, out there." Well, yes, but never have I ever seen him act like that. One, two, I was there. I was sober. So was the other
Yeah.
guy, and I didn't see him smoke anything or take anything before we went up there. And like he was at my house for, I don't know, 20 minutes before we went up there. And like, I don't know, his eyes were just, he was confused and he had no idea what was going on. And it was just it was so scary. But I mean, we got to the gate, the barrier, the gate there. But once we got past it is when he like that exhale and that, oh my, what the hell you got? What, why, put me
Yeah.
down, and put him down. What are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
You remember the lady? No, no. Mm, yeah.
So he was
Okay.
just paralyzed and
Yeah. He said he
almost like
started
in
to
sleep
remember.
paralysis.
Yeah. He said he started to remember a little bit later on, like days later, but he didn't have. I don't know if he just didn't want to talk about it, or if he just didn't want to, or if he just didn't remember it. But um, the weird thing was is that my friend Jake said, "Why was her hair going one way and her dress was going the other way?" And I was like, that like quick head turn.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my god, you saw that?" And you're like the whole I'm crazy, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And he starts telling me that. So there I know that I love the beginning of your show, the quote in the beginning of your show where it's, uh, there are things in this world that we can't quite understand or that we don't quite understand. I don't know the quote, but I love it.
The force in this world that uh, no science doesn't seem to understand or something like that. And it's like the force of fear.
Yes. And I've felt that force a lot.
Yeah.
And there are things that are out there that we don't know about. And there are things out there that people probably shouldn't know about. But there are also things that people shouldn't meddle with. And I know that it's probably a bunch of crap, but it may not be. But I don't know. But what I do know is that my buddy Jake and a few of his other friends were up at the park the night before, smoking a little,
Yeah.
having some fun. And he was reading this book that he had just gotten from the mall. And uh, he had seen it from, or he knew of the book from The Evil Dead. And the book was called the
Okay.
Necronomicon.
Yeah.
So he's reading through things, and he said the one page that he remembered looking at was the Watchers. So after that night, next day at school, he's talking to me about it. We're looking at the book, and I'm reading through it, and I'm like, that kind of reads like what we just saw. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not gonna tell you that it's not because I saw it. And he's like, I may have like conjured this unwillingly. Like, I don't know how I did it, but I may have done that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know how you would have done that either. I know that there's a spell technically in the book, but I don't know that it's a legit thing.
Well, they do
I don't
have
know any of this
things.
crap.
Yeah, they do have things that they call tulpas,
Mhm.
and it's basically if you get enough people to believe it, it's the power of belief type thing. If you think about it enough, it'll conjure it up and make
Yeah,
it into something. Like the energy that you have and the energy that you're putting out for it will somehow summon this thing and make it out in the real world.
yeah.
Supposedly. I'm no expert.
Well, well, I'll tell you, like that was my first experience with it, and I know that I was I would go up there. You could stand at the gate and just kind of watch and see
You,
like the
you could see
shadows.
it from the gate. And like I
Yeah.
remember growing up, you always were like, as soon as you pass this, you're safe. So
Mhm.
like always make sure you get past the gate. And that's like one thing that was like, why? So
Because if it's dark, you get past the gate because at in the daylight you just kind of felt funky. Like you go up there to do whatever, you play basketball or something, you're like, ah, this sucks. And you leave
Yeah.
that
So you would
area.
still feel it. Like it wasn't just because it was dark and scary. Even during the daytime, you still felt like that
You
that
just
unease.
unease for sure. Wasn't as bad. Like when you at night, it was almost like a uh, I don't know,
Like everything changed.
unnerving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I would go up there with my Game Boy and like play with the kids and everything during the day. And like after that incident and like actually the night when he took me up there, because like it was kind of similar. Like we went up the hill, it's like right when the sun like went down. And there, mind you, like once you go up the hill, the only light is the light that's down by the gate. So that
yeah,
whole park is just a dark abyss. And,
Damn.
just like staring off, and you start seeing the things move. It's just like, I was like, what the hell? Like, I thought he had some people out there and he's just messing with me. Cause like, I was afraid of Jason, which was kind of funny that I got to meet him later in life.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like I remember that like the first movie, like someone got harpooned, and like I just like I was afraid of that stuff. But then
Yeah.
actually seeing it like in my like front of my eyes, and he's like, "Do you see that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that was like my first time seeing it, and
And you
it's
saw the
just
same exact like things. You can see
the shadows jumping the
yeah.
trees, and it was
Okay.
just like I couldn't keep up at some points, and then like once like I thought I could, like it would just be like a silhouette, and then like you'd blink, and then like you lose it, and then it's like where did it go? And it was almost like a playful, like to me, like it was like, hey, come out, and but like, yeah, like the whole atmosphere changed like after he took me up there. Like I never went up there unless I was with a group. Cause like even during the day, cause like sometimes when we would go back in the woods, it felt like you were being watched. Sometimes, at least I felt that way. So, but
yeah.
Did it feel malicious in any way? Like you said, it kind of seemed playful, um, but the way that Brian described it more of like they were trying to scare
it,
you guys off.
It depended
well,
on which one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because like the watchers, it almost seemed like they were playing tag, peekaboo, something like that, And the furthest that I ever saw one was like that big tree right next to the ramp, and like I never seen the watchers go out. Like they didn't go down in that carport area. So like
Yeah,
I like when I saw them, I never really like felt in danger. It was just more or less like kind of wanted to play, at least like
Yeah.
from my point of view. But I was also a kid, so
Either way, it's
um,
gonna freak you out seeing something like that.
yeah,
So that your initial feeling is going to be fear. Um, I just didn't know if like any other times that you guys went, did it feel different, or did it always have that kind of like permeating feeling of fear, like you guys were just scared?
like we went up several times. Like when I took him up, it was just kind of like, yeah, I just want to go up here for a minute. And then when he started to notice things, and then it was okay. So you see this?
Yeah.
Yes. What do you see? And he told me. Okay, so you see that guy with his leg up on the tree over there, and he's like getting ready. He just walked around the tree. Yep. Okay,
hmm
it's not a person. Like, oh, mm. Yeah. If we didn't see the chick, it was a good night.
yeah.
The chick was
Okay,
not
so
nice.
she was the one
Yeah,
that they really put that in.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I forgot to mention. Like she raised her hands and like float through that thing. I'm like, oh my god, yep, I'm out. I don't know what that is, but fuck no.
It reminds me of the Return the Slab episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
No.
Uh, return the slab, and it's just standing there in the big open field. And I think it's like it's flowing weird, and that's exactly what I pictured.
That's amazing.
Um,
I have not seen that.
Yeah, you have to look at
yeah,
it. It is pretty much.
Return to slab. I'm writing that down.
yeah. It's
um,
a it's an old episode, and it's just like this spirit that comes by, um, just because he takes a slab, so the spirit comes in and is like, return the slab.
Return the slab. What? Return the slab, or suffer my curse.
What's your offer?
I, it was shadows. She was all just shadow, except the eyes. But you could see like the detail in her hair and her dress rippling and her arms lifting. You could see like the depth, but just shadow. It was weird.
Okay, and it was darker than like the darkness
Yeah,
of the night.
yeah.
Okay,
You could see her. She was standing in front of my shirt. Like like it popped. It was really weird.
yeah,
But yeah, and then
that's one thing that people say with shadow people in general, is that
Mhm.
they're darker than the darkness around them. For
Yes,
whatever reason, it is completely absent of anything
yeah,
except for the eyes, apparently.
yeah. I don't remember if any of the other ones like there became more like more of them showed up, and so yeah, like now that sorry, there's a semi going past my house.
You're
Now
fine.
that I'm older, is sometimes it's even more incredible, and like it sometimes seems like wow, that stuff was crazy, but at the same
Yeah,
time, I was there, I lived it, and I know, but um my my girlfriend at the time, her mom was really she was Wiccan, and she was really 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 into magic, like I I mean like the full blown like magic, like had like the
yeah,
sage burning and would like go to had a coven, did all kinds of stuff. Um, I first saw this stuff before I started dating her. Afterwards, I think she had an episode one time where like we went up to the park and I had mentioned it, and uh she like because she started to see things, and I was like, yeah, there's some stuff up here, it's kind of spooky. And then she got a really bad headache. And once we got to the bottom of the hill, she was like, well, that's odd. I'm fine now. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, you're kind of a liar, but at the same time, Uh, well, I talked to her mom about it. Her mom says that she knew about the thing, and if there was a gate that was open somehow, letting these things through, that would
yeah,
be why there'd be more. And then she told me that I should probably hang up some wax above doorways, and that would apparently wax above doorways keeps evil spirits out. Okay, so it did that,
yeah,
and then she and one of her other witch buddies had a I don't know what you call it. They did a ritual seance, something of the sort, and apparently closed the gate. Didn't say anything to me, and asked me how things were going, and I said, I don't know. I haven't been up there, so I went up there, and I hadn't seen anything. I haven't seen anything up in the park. I haven't been there in forever, but I mean,
I have
I
a
lived there again, but on a different road, and went up there at like at dark and at
yeah,
nighttime, and it was just dark. I didn't see anything going on up there, and there were several times before I moved out that I went up there at night, and it seemed fine. And then once she finally told me, yeah, um, I was hoping that it was fine. It's good. We
yeah.
did our thing, and closed the gate. Or at least we hoped we did. I'm like, okay, well, seemed to work. So that, and I don't know if Jim had any more on that, but yeah.
Well, when I didn't know about that last part, but there was an instant that I seen her under like the slide, and I always saw her almost like hanging from the slide. So
Oh,
that's why because I was smaller, so I'm you know how big that damn slide was.
yeah.
I was looking up, so it almost felt like she was always piercing down at me, when we got close to there.
Hmm.
So, but I was just scared shitless, and I'm trying to just keep it together because you guys are cool, and yeah, that's another it. I was a kid, so I felt things were a little bit more receptive, and that because my experiences were different a little bit because it was more peering, she was looking at me, and I didn't really feel anything. It was just more I like I just couldn't believe that that was happening. So and luckily I had somebody else there because I probably would have just stayed ran away and but the only other there's two things that pop up in my head, and it is when you're at the slide and you are looking at the tree line, there was always this gap in the tree line, or an area where you could see something walking, and
Hmm.
or you could hear the rustling, and if you ever got to that point, that's where it was the darkest to me. Like it was even if the moon was out, that area was just dark. And I recall seeing movement, you know, like in the moving of brushes in that area. And then when the it was when Bryce was still living there,
Hmm.
and Aaron, um, they were hanging out a lot, and they went up there, and apparently stuff went down, because when I showed up, Aaron was wet or all muddy, and stuff like looked like he was having a bad night. So I was like, what's going on, guys? And they're like, we went up to the park, and I was like, oh, and he was like, we're going back up there. We gotta, figure it out. And I remember it was me, Aaron, and Bryce, and we walked up there, and we I didn't think anything was going down. I was a little bit older. I was like, that was just all in my head. And we got up to the slide, and I remember Bryce stopping, and he's like, stop, stop. And I was like, what? And Aaron looked over, and then there was this something down lower right before the tree line, and almost didn't catch it. It was just just sitting still, and then it started moving, and then it got bigger, and that's when like Aaron was just run, and I was like, and then we heard a low growl, and Bryce, that's when when he freaked out, that's when I started freaking out, and we just booked it back because he was in those woods all the time.
Hmm.
Nothing could make him or Bryan that scared to me, and seeing him in that much fear, I was like, oh my god, I'm in danger too. So And that was the only other instance that like I kind of like I didn't know what was happening, and like it like I felt danger, but I just like they it seemed like they responded quicker, and I was still like kind of like catching up. But then we
Yeah,
got
like wait, what's going on? What's happening? Why is everybody freaking out right now?
yeah, and we got down to the yellow gate and the light, and we were catching our breath, and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And they were like, "I don't know," and we're not going back up there because, and after that time, I honestly cannot like I haven't been back up there. Like from what I can remember, other than in the day. So, but it's a lot different now. A lot of stuff is torn down and whatnot. At least when I was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's crazy the fact that it was like all of you guys, all the kids like almost in the neighborhood, all the people that you hung out with, like all experienced it as well. It wasn't just you guys
Mhm.
experiencing this thing. From what Jim was saying, it was like they experienced it without any of you guys around. So it was just something that was happening there.
Well, the whole school knew. Like
Yeah.
the trailer park was about an eighth of a mile from the school, the high school, and the whole school knew. Like there was people like I said, we lived at the base of the hill. Like the gate was right outside our house. There were people parked at the gate all the time, and they'd go up there at night, and we just watch them go up there. And I'm like, oh my god, here they go.
I
Yeah.
remember seeing some people run their asses right back down that hill
Yeah, it
some
was
nights,
entertaining.
and then like I just remember looking out the window and like looking up there and seeing them jumping the trees,
Yeah,
right, the shadows, and that's what was like kind of just mind boggling because like I thought maybe it was just an instant, like I was in the moment, I saw it, but then I was in the comfort of my own room and like I could still see this, you know, these things happening in front of me.
hmm
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I never had anything like that. It's like, but it's all. I mean, it's crazy and awesome at the fact that, like I said, your whole school, people just around there knew
yeah,
of it too, like a local legend type thing. Yeah.
yep, yeah.
And then
People still talk to me about it. Like, remember that shit? Yeah,
it kind
yeah, I
of
do.
sprouts its own legs, and like you get different viewpoints from it too, and it's kind of nuts that a lot of different people experienced it because like at the time I thought it was just us. But I
Oh
was
yeah,
younger, I didn't know any better.
yeah. I go to an
Yeah. To
annual clown
anybody.
party at the beginning of October, and it almost always comes up.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah. The people who put it on are like, remember that shit? Yeah, I remember that shit. I lived there. Remember? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be interesting if anybody who had lived in that area also like shares their story. Like I don't know exactly where in Ohio. What did you guys say the name of the town was right there? The city was right there.
that right there was.
what?
I think that's technically Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's technically Springfield, but
Yeah,
it's like out in the cornfields.
yeah.
Well, if
It's
anybody
the
there in that
outskirts.
area, to anybody watching, listening, if you have experienced the Watchers, yeah, put it in the comments down below, or or try to get in contact with one of these guys. Share your experience as well, because that's crazy. Because I'm
Yeah.
sure there are probably like tons of people that you guys probably didn't even know that experienced it as well.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be really like, oh my god, that's it's solidifying it that there is a
Yeah.
possibility of something else, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, man, that's a good
Yeah.
start to that.
I try.
A good first episode. So what is another one that I know there's, like I said, there's the things that you've seen, Brian, that you have sent to me, um, the new things that Jim just learned
Hmm.
about.
Yeah, we got all
Go
kinds of good
on with
stuff,
everyone
man.
whatever you guys want to go. I'm here to listen.
I just like talking about crazy shit, like I had my first UFO sighting was with my brother. I don't know if he remembers as much, but we were in Missouri um, at our step uncle's house. I guess what we would be calling him.
I don't
Uh,
know.
and Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Uh, his back porch looked over a tree line, saw some mountains in the distance. It was just after dinner, just before we started watching X Files. X Files was airing that night. Um, first run. So um, and we're just kind of hanging out on the back porch watching. My mom smoked, so she was smoking. Um, just kind of watching the night sky. It's a beautiful night. There's a great view, and then all of a sudden, we're watching the planes go, and then we watch this light streak across the sky, stop, and then streak back across the sky, stop, and then we see this like little blue ball drop from it, and then it shoots off like out of nowhere, like out of the skyline, and then we see one drop back through, and then stop, and drop a blue ball, and then it shoots like up at an angle, like off out of no, like just completely gone. We're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And that was weird because my mom was there and she got to see it, and Bonnie, which
Mhm.
Jim knows Bonnie, and
Yeah.
Bonnie is a prude, a bit of a prude. So, it's kind of like and she was like, "What? That was the UFO. You see that UFO?" We're like, "Yeah, we saw that UFO." Like, I don't know if it's more surprising that we saw a UFO or that you are acknowledging that that was a UFO. Like, it was amazing. And like ever since I've always, liked the UFOs, and well, let's go watch X Files. Like, dude, what the hell? Do we just going to become best friends? Like,
Yeah.
what? Uh, but yeah, since then, you see these things in the sky, and it's not. It's kind of like, oh man, what's that? What that was that? I don't know. Maybe. Well,
Yeah.
recently,
It's
as
real.
Oscar
All
knows,
of
it's true. All of it, yeah.
Yeah.
As of recently, yes, with that, with the release of NASA and whatever. But as Oscar knows, I have, and I don't even know if I've told you this, Jim. I have seen some shit. Like, um, just coming home. I don't know. One night, and all four of us are in the car driving southbound on road, and I look up, just looking down, straight through my windshield, and up in the sky, I see an orange light. Why is it always orange?
I don't know.
With me, I'm not sure what that is. See an orange light flash, and then as I round the corner around this tree in this house, there are two more, and it's in this big triangle form. It's kind of like that in the sky. And I'm like, what in the hell? And it's blinking and kind of moving, and it's just gone. But they're all moving at the same time, like all three dots. And as I'm watching it blinking, I'm like, what is that? What is that? And everyone's like, what? And they kind of glimpse it at the very end, just before it like just disappears.
Yeah.
So they all kind of see it, but they all kind of like question, like my wife's like, oh, well, it's probably just airplane. I don't know. I've never seen an airplane, like three of them in unison, disappear, like all blink and disappear at the same time. Like, it's huge. Never seen that. So I get home and I'm looking around in the sky, and I'm like trying to see if I can see it with my camera phone and whatnot, my iPhone,
Yeah.
my camera phone. I'm old. And looking around, and like, it's not there still, but it's the same direction. Like, okay, fine. Uh, whatever. Fast forward. I'm in Marysville, Ohio, at a football game. Okay, Friday night football game, high school, and we're leaving, and their football field is like on this huge like hill, and we're walking down it, and we're walking past these uh two girls that are sitting on the hill, and the one girl says, "What is that? Oh my god, are the aliens coming?" And I am intrigued, so I look up, and I actually sent this video to you, Oscar, didn't I?
Yeah.
Of the
Yeah.
like what my wife was like, I think that's Starlink. I'm like, I've seen videos of Starlink. It don't look like that. There's
Yeah.
like this row of these lights, and they're all blinking, and then they're gone, just all of a sudden. And it was
Yeah.
huge. It wasn't a triangle this time, but it was like this whole line of like lights gone, and it was like they were right there. Holy crap! What is that? Like me, my youngest daughter, my wife, we all saw it. I at least got a little bit of footage of that one. Well, fast forward, a few months later, I go up to pick my oldest daughter up from school, a couple miles up the road. We're headed south again, same direction as the first time, and I see these orange lights, and it's a little smaller this time, but it's triangle formed, and they're just lit in the sky at first. And like the road I live on, you come down the road, and then you got to come down this hill, and then you come back up the hill, and then kind of levels out, and then you go past my house across the tracks, and then there's fields of like corn and whatnot. So as we're going to the top of the first spike of the hill is when I first see them off in the distance, and I'm like, holy crap. And Mara, my daughter, is like, what is that, Dad? What is that? I'm like, uh that's the U and UFO, like it's unidentified. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Let's go find out. And she's like, okay. Yes. So we take off and we get across the tracks. And I don't know why I parked here. Probably because it was the first place I saw. There's just like abandoned house, like right over there. It's creepy as shit. I don't know why I parked there. Well, I parked there and just pulled into the driveway kind of and got out of the car, and we're like taking pictures or trying to take pictures. We can't really tell what it looks like or what it is on the phone, but there's just a triangle, and I'm like, it's just sitting there, and then it starts to blink, and then it's just gone. But it's sitting there and
Yeah.
gone. Like, what the hell just happened? Like the second time in a year
Yeah.
that I see this orange triangle of lights, like three lights in the triangle formation in the same direction. Like it's south. Like, what the
Yeah. And
hell's
you,
going
yeah, because the fact of it just kind of chilling, like if it was a military thing, like a jet or something, it'd be going.
Right.
But the
And
fact
I,
that it
I
was just chilling there,
right. And I will say that, like, excuse me. Um, we do live close enough to
Right, Pat. That's what I was gonna
an
say.
Air Force base, but it was like dead south, like true south. It wasn't southeast, or I'm sorry, southwest. Like that's the direction of right pat is southwest.
yeah,
So if anything were coming from there, it would be more that way.
yeah,
This is dead south, like like they would have
yeah,
had to like straight line, like L-shaped pattern. But then even then, what are they doing? They just going to a certain spot and stopping, and then turning the lights off and
yeah.
then head back. Well, it makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
None of it
Yeah,
makes sense. But still, yeah.
It could be some kind of like stealth kind of technology. I know that they said they released some stuff about that it could be possible. I haven't really looked into it that much, but um, that could be one explanation. But I mean, the only like extraterrestrial or thing that I can think of recently would be the appearance of the moon. Really haven't seen, like, some nights I just don't see it, and there hasn't been any clouds. Like, I just, like, there's some nights that it's just not there, at least to me. And that's the closest
Yeah.
thing that I have, like, UFO wise.
I'm
Well, I
falling
mean,
down the
that's
conspiracy wagon like a mofo.
but yeah, because
It's all
I mean,
real.
there are tons of things. There are tons of things where it's just like it could be the military reverse engineering things, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe they'll fly them over, smaller towns or whatever, just just because it's like, oh well, if anything comes out of a small town, nobody's gonna believe it anyways.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
True story.
like besides if as if they flew it like over LA or like New York, then it'd be a bigger story. So they're like, we're just gonna test this out, fly it over these people in this small town. Nobody's gonna believe them anyways, and that's their plan. Or
Yeah.
it's actual extraterrestrial like
I'm
things.
sorry. I believe on that one. Like,
Oh yeah.
they've released documents. I just haven't, like, seen or read them, and, like, I feel like that's kind of, it's like, yep, that's no longer an if for me. It is. It's just we haven't seen it face to, like,
Yeah,
up front and personal,
Yep. That's the real.
unless
yeah.
we just didn't know.
Because anytime I've seen anything, it's been in the middle of the desert. When I lived in Arizona, it's just been in the middle of nowhere where nobody else is gonna see things.
Right. I mean, that's kind of. I don't live in a major area at all. Like
Yeah.
I'm 30 miles from a major area, at least 30 miles from, you know, a major city or anything that can be considered a major city. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, UFO things always get me. Like it's not something that a lot of people come on here and talk about. I mean, I don't know if you listened to the episode, the guy who was meditating and communicating with extraterrestrial like UFO things and calling them forward. But that's about the only thing that
I
has
missed
been
that
on the
one.
show.
You better watch out. You might
I'm going
ask
back.
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
if you listen to it, then don't start meditating and trying to call them forward.
don't
Yeah.
phone them. We know that.
Yeah.
Like,
We all know E.T. was the villain in the movie.
Yep. Don't let him phone home. Take him out.
Yeah. You're gonna have him call more here? We don't want
Yeah,
more
right.
here.
No.
Yeah.
No. No. Mission was a failure. Let it go with that.
Yeah. But it's super interesting. The fact that you saw the same type of craft on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
The other thing at the football game that other people also saw. Well, they pointed out first. Um, I don't know. Maybe you're a magnet for these things.
the
Could be.
only
I'm
there's
odd looking.
one incident of yet a paranormal probably thing would be, what's that school that we airsoft?
Oh yeah.
And that one, wasn't there a little bit of, like, action there? Like, I
Oh.
definitely heard footsteps there. And, like, I know we were running around, but we weren't running around, and, like, we're just, like, a group of us was up there.
So
Sorry,
there's
I
a,
didn't mean to cut it.
oh no, you're
No,
fine. I
no.
mean, like I didn't have anything else to put in on the UFO. And if you don't, then yeah. So I live in a 200-year-old house, and um, the lady who owned it beforehand said it had spirits and whatnot. And I know that there have been like seances here and whatnot. And the lady said that there was a soldier that lives upstairs. So, hey, happy Veterans Day, soldier! Thank you for your service.
Don't haunt me.
keep the peace here and just everything's cool. Um, and there's also a school down the street that's uh, probably not as old, but it's very old, dilapidated. Jim and I have airsoft played airsoft in the school, and it was in very ill repair.
Mhm.
To the point where, I mean, it was creepy as shit. Like it had like the little kid handprints on the walls, so it looked like Blair Witch. You know, when you're walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. I want to go back in so bad. With the guy who used to own this house, excuse me, again, he owns the place, and he kind of built himself a small house out back. Long
Oh,
story
cool.
short, he and the wife split up. They owned the school. She said, "You get the school, I get the house. Hell out of here." So he built a little house out behind the school. That's where he lives now. The wife moved out, and sadly, the wife's passed away.
Oh,
She was a lovely woman, but the guy down the road, he's a nice guy. I'd probably get a tour in there. I really would like to do that. Maybe we can get a tour
that
set
would
up,
be really cool.
and then we can, we'll see what we can do. We can
Yeah.
send that off to you. Maybe you can do some editing on that, or maybe we can phone a
Yeah.
friend, like live stream from it.
That'd be
Either
cool.
way,
Yeah.
yeah. Either way, we got we had airsoft down there, and then we left, and then everybody who was still there did a little like seance or whatever, and said that shit got real spooky after that. I'm like, I don't know why you would do that. Like,
Well,
why would you call them out? Like, if it's already creepy, just leave them alone.
our buddy Sean, he was amongst the group,
Yeah.
and he said that they went into one of the classrooms and just made a circle, and was just sitting there and chilling out and
Yeah.
like just listening, and like everybody heard like the pitter patter of children,
Hmm.
stuff like that, and I cannot remember what he said that spooked them to the point to getting out of there. But like I would not go in there alone. Like it was only comfortable because there was two squads. So like I was gonna bump into somebody. So like I would rather get shot than seeing a ghost chasing my ass
Yeah.
somewhere.
I think it was fun to airsoft in there. It was really, really fun. But I think I had more fun exploring. Like we took a break
Yeah.
and we explored that sumbitch, and man, the boiler room was so cool because there was
Oh,
still like coal to the ceiling. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is awesome. In like the basement area. Oh my god. I want to go back so bad. My youngest really wants to go explore it. Like, I don't know about that.
That'd be
There's
awesome.
probably a lot of asbestos in there, but
Oh,
still,
probably. Yeah. Just get those heavy
respirator.
duty masks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Respirator mask.
shit. When I was in when we were in high school, well, yeah, when I was in high school, we used to like every once in a while we'd come out all the way out here, and I've been into that school when I was a lot younger too, but I went into it legally, I think twice. So it's really cool. Yeah.
Man. Yeah. We're so you would hear footsteps there. What is it with the people that are around you guys that are either doing a seance or calling forth
yeah, like
reading the passage?
I
it,
don't know.
that
I
instance, I just remember the circle. Like I think they said something about like lighting a candle or something, but like it wasn't like I don't remember like if they were like asking questions or if they said something or what. But
I don't know. People are
Well,
stupid. Like, I don't get
what I
like
believe is that if you just put that call out there, then it
like you just never
opens.
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're asking for trouble like all the time. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Well, what Jim, I don't know if Jim knows this, but once they were done down there, some of them actually came back to my house because that owners still owned this place, and they came back here and went up to
Mhm.
my attic
Oh,
and
I did
tried
not.
to call forth some people. I'm like, ugh, I got a really good deal on this house. which is
Now I know why.
how the horror movies start,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
Like, wow, how do we get to such a great deal on the house?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
You're
It's only the ghosts. You
Mhm.
just have roommates. That's all they
Yeah,
are.
that's it.
I would not be surprised if there was some secret like entrance in your basement because it looks spooky already, and then that would make it even more spooky.
No, bro. I was actually down there yesterday with my youngest and showed her because it's like a dirt floor basement, and showed her the wall that had been recently cemented over where they had closed off the tunnels for the Underground Railroad.
Oh, I forgot about
And
that.
she was
wow.
like, "That's so cool." And yeah, she
We
had already told
Oh,
like
so
the teacher at school and stuff like that. And yeah, I
you
actually showed her
definitely
what it
have
was.
like history like in your
Oh
home.
yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
great.
we're
Mm.
about to make a hole. Let's go find this thing.
Right? I don't see any train tracks.
Yeah.
Home renovations. It's okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
With
that's
them,
awesome. What about you, Jim? You said that you had learned something recently. You went to go.
Oh, I've been going over and taking care of my mother-in-law's house, and we usually go at least once at night just to double check, put some lights on, stuff like that. And one instance, my wife went over and she was getting some clothes. She went back in the laundry room and came back into the living room, and she was putting stuff in a bag, and she looked up and realized the back door was open. And she was like, okay, that was not like she didn't tell that it was open when she first came in. So she closed it, and then she was like, I kind of got a weird feeling. So I got the hell out of there, and she came back home. Well, like, I just got done this morning, going over and checking on the mother in law. She just got out of rehab and stuff. And she was telling me about some of the stories about the property and some of the ghost encounters, I guess. And they would, uh, apparently, the property was a bigger property and it got broken down over the years. But a big barn fire happened on the property, and a lot of people passed away. And one of the characters or the persons uh, smoked a pipe and you know kind of would linger around in some like corner of your eye in some of the parts of the house, or they would get the smell of like the tobacco and like kind of get that eerily kind of feeling. But like there is like movement like is indoors and stuff that happens over there, and it could be the air, they're next to a field, stuff like that. But sometimes those doors are heavy duty, and like they wouldn't just like open up like that unless it wasn't latched or something
Yeah.
pushed. So
Or the wind was like really strong.
but yeah, I didn't know that it was a bigger, like it was like a bigger property, and it was like a community with a big barn, and there was some
Yeah.
loss there. So then that's kind of what, you know, I can kind of like you feel a little off at night there because,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's just crazy to see the difference because, like, how she talked about it, because the house that's there now wasn't always there. It used to be a smaller blue house, and they always heard singing. And once they moved into the house, they never heard it again until they demolished the old house, the old blue house. and then they start hearing it again, and they'd go into a different room or go in the basement to try to find it, and it does seem like it kept like going echoing away, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot of different things, you know, and when my oldest son was still like pretty young, he would always say he was making ghost traps, and he would go put like Lincoln logs like in like a formation or whatever he had at the time, and he's like, "Yep, you guys are safe. I made you guys ghost traps." And I just laughed it off, and they would laugh it off, like, "Oh no, you probably really did, bud." And then now she's telling me more and more about some of the stuff that has gone on over there. And I'm like, oh God, now
You
he
were like,
was just
he was protecting us.
so but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I was pretty excited to
No,
bring
that is
that up.
interesting. The fact of people hearing things, the the smoking of tobacco and then smelling it,
Mhm.
I find super interesting. The fact that
Like
you can actually like people can actually smell
I
tobacco is crazy.
like I smelled pipe tobacco before there, but like I was around that a lot. My uh gr- well crap.
Our grandpa.
Yeah, our grandpa, he smoked out of a pipe all the time. So like every now and then I'll catch a whiff of his tobacco. But when it's crazy to think that maybe it is an entity there now with the smell, you know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just something. It's something that was a deep connection with them. Like just is something that you would instantly connect with that person. So then that becomes part of, I guess, their energy that is left behind. You know.
Hmm.
So at least that's what I think. Again,
Yeah.
I'm no expert on the matter.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, for sure. Like I've smelled the pipe tobacco
Yeah.
just out of nowhere. Like,
And then mom always talks about it too. So I'm like, yep, it's just not me.
yeah.
Everybody has caught a whiff of it.
Mhm. Or
Yeah.
Curve. I smell my uncle's
Oh,
cologne. I smell like,
Oh, really?
yeah, like, what the hell? Out of nowhere.
You're
It's
like, I don't
odd.
know any curve.
Yeah, like my uncle and my brother are like the only two people I know that that wore it. And every once in a while I'd smell it and it was distinct, and I'm like, or or Dakin's solution.
oh.
Okay.
But nor I work in a medical warehouse, so medical supplies. So I smell that a little bit more than normal.
Sometimes I freak myself out because I usually only put Curb on like if I'm having a hard day, kind of have a good memory, cheer me up.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the hell? Oh yeah, I spray that on me.
That was me. Yeah. Mind tricks.
Yeah, there was a time for me since my dad passed away young. Um, my mom would always find pennies on the floor. Like, there were always pennies randomly that would pop up anywhere. So she would always go like, "Oh, look at another one from your dad. Here's another one from your dad."
Oh, that's cool.
So like now, even to this day, if I see like a penny anywhere, I'm like taking the penny. Like I
Yeah,
just bring it with me.
for sure.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
just that like the same thing, like a connection in some
Yeah.
way. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
super interesting.
That's cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you had any other stories. I mean, I'm all ears
Well, with
for
that,
whatever you
like
got.
the smells and stuff, like when we were a lot younger, well, I know we both, I guess, Jim, me, both of us, like I would have more, I don't know if it was just luck or what it was, but I had like a sense of a little bit of a like a premonition every once in a while. I know with my uncle, like we used to hang out all the time. And I know specifically one time for sure, like we were getting ready to back out of a space, and I had this like cold chill, and I was like, wait, and he stopped, and as he stopped, this car just sped right past us, and like almost like squealed past us, and he
Yeah.
was like, what the hell? And I was like, okay, like we're good now. Like I don't know why, but we just like we needed to stop, and I was doing something. I was doing something when we were in the car, and I was like, stop, stop, stop. And he was like, what? And when, and then when my uh when my grandpa uh passed away, the my dog's getting a little crazy over there.
Sorry.
The song changed on my iPhone. The song just changed, and it was weird how like the song changed and it changed, and I knew what was going on. And I about 30 seconds after the song had changed, and I had the feeling of like the weird dread feeling. I got a
Yeah.
text from my mother telling me that my uncle had, or my grandpa had passed away, and was like, "What the hell? Like that's weird." And when Jim and I we used to hang out with a couple of guys all the time. We'd actually have, we were so close that we would actually stop like what we were doing, and like all of us would say, "Wow, I just had a really bad feeling. What the hell's going on?" And we'd call
Yeah.
whoever we weren't with and say, "Are you okay?" And figure out what was going on. But like,
Yeah.
you remember that, Jim?
Oh yeah. I
Like,
remember like there would be times that just like you'd get this gut wrenching feeling, and like it just felt like there something was off, and it would be like, all right, and like texting was still new, so it would just be like, hey, you cool? Everything all right?
yeah,
Stuff like that. So
I don't have any examples of anything, but there would be times where it would be like, "Wow, what the hell is that?" And then we'd figure it out and be like, "Oh my god, that's crazy that just happened. I wonder if that has anything to do with the feeling that I had." You never know if it really was, but just kind of weird. But
Yeah. I think you
something-
build strong bonds with like people, deep connections with people, especially with you saying with your grandpa and the like kind of the radio changing
yeah,
and things like that. I feel like those moments are where they're trying to like reach
yeah,
out towards the end because I know I got a buddy who lost his father um, a couple of years ago. I think maybe it was when he was a teenager, but he was telling me that he ended up having a dream of just like his dad saying like, "Hey, I'm just coming. Like, to let you know, like it's gonna be all right. Got to say goodbye. That's it." And then he woke up and he was like, "What?" Like, and then he got a call. Was letting out. So
man,
there's tons of moments like that where it's just like them just trying to reach out
yeah,
in those moments. And then I find those ones more on like the the amazing side, the beautiful side, rather than like
mhm,
fear. Because
yeah,
even though it's like a sad moment, then it's like something good happened in there, and you were able to carry that now.
yeah,
Yeah,
in, in those two instances, like with grandpa, like I was like in the elevator, like on my way up, and then like it was almost like I thought, everything like thing was going to be fine, and like I was racing up just in case, and then I missed it just by like a little bit,
yeah,
and I feel like sometimes like when they do go, it's kind of like a timing thing because like with my uncle, like right before he did pass, like I was there, taking care of him, and then you know I was leaving for my afternoon shift, and my mom moved in with him, so and it was after I left that he passed, and my mom went in, and then by the time I got home, she texted me and like I turned back around and went back over. But it was kind of like for the longest time, I always was very angry about that, thinking,
Yeah.
like I just in the nick of time, like I was trying my hardest to be there and to get there, but then I kind of now look at it as in like they were just trying to be kind, not to see all that like right up front. I kind
Yeah.
of saw the after effect or the after of it, and it still hurts like hell, but you
Yeah.
know,
But now you have things you carry, or or you have moments where you're like, oh, okay, that was them
mhm,
around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just letting you know, like, hey, everything's all right.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah. That was the thing with when it came to both ends of that. It was just like putting, when we talked about like opening a door, you just put a call out.
mhm,
That's what it happened with my dad. Like I was just like after he had passed, I was, just like, please, anything out there, whatever is out there, let me just see him one more time. I was just putting the call out,
mhm,
you know, and then that's when things started to happen in my life. But it wasn't just the pennies; it was also at the same time sleep paralysis started, and then all these other things like toys would go off by themselves and stuff like that. So uh, I ended up getting that good moment, but I also unfortunately put that call out there to anything else that was out there in the ether.
yeah.
Uh,
With the good comes the bad. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yes. And
thankfully it doesn't really happen too
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yes. It's the nice thing about the paranormal is that there is like anything else, there's two sides to the coin, and
Yeah,
you don't always have to have a bad story. You can have a good story too.
Yeah,
yeah,
like sometimes
Like
it's like scaring the shit out of you, and then sometimes it's like, hey, just wanted you to remember you're doing good,
yeah,
and then going
right,
on.
right,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
That is the good and the bad with all of it.
Yep.
uh,
All right. Well,
I
that
w-
last things I have is Jim. I don't know if you know this or not, but I think that you might have something going on in your house.
Oh, we're kind of always. I always remember hearing about the old lady, but that was what like I never
Is
really
that
encountered it.
is it an old lady? I didn't know who it was.
That
You
that
guys
was
were
from
gone.
you.
You guys were gone,
Yeah.
and I was upstairs because my room was always upstairs. And I know you don't know this, Oscar, but if somebody walks through uh the front door, or the front room, and through the house, um, you know, like the floors creak. It's
Oh
hardwood
yeah.
floors, and they creak.
okay.
There's no way to really sneak through the front room and the like the dining room area at all, especially when you're right above them.
I gotta take a
Well,
second real quick.
what?
You got to take a second.
Oh, he had to take a second. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, damn it. um, I was talking to him. No, not really. Um, yeah. So I'm up there one night, and I'm ready for bed. So I don't know what time it is, but uh, Jim and my mom and stepdad left. They were in. They went somewhere. They were in another state. So it's just me. I was ready for bed. Getting ready to go to bed. Had everything done, laid down, turned the light off. I heard someone walk through like the front room. I was like, what the hell? Turned the light on, sat up, and was like, what am I gonna do? Like, so immediately called my girlfriend, now wife. I was like, I just need you on the phone in case like someone pops me.
Something happened. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, really? There's no one in your house. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, you know how it is. I just heard somebody walk through the damn living room and was looking outside, didn't see anybody. Okay, I'm going downstairs. Got this little bat going downstairs. Go downstairs, nothing. Doors are all locked. Windows are all shut, locked, nothing. I mean, like, house is completely empty. Nobody's in the
Yeah.
basement. I went all over the place. Go back up to the room, shut the door, sit back down. I'm hearing people, like I'm hearing footsteps downstairs. I go back down there, nobody down there. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It was hard to sleep that night, but I mean, there was something going on. Like I couldn't tell, but yeah, like just footsteps.
You couldn't tell exactly what, but you knew something was definitely happening.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's where Jim lives now. So yeah, making sure he knows.
Well, lucky
Yeah,
him.
I remember that. Sorry, I had to use the restroom, and then my wife just let me know that I had to come get her. So,
Okay.
but no, I remember that story, and I, in a way, just pushed that in the back of my mind for the longest time.
You're
And
welcome.
so far, nothing too crazy has happened, other than like it's hard to tell now because I have animals. So like at least they're just not barking over in a corner or something like that. So like once I do experience anything like that here, I'll let you know. Like, thanks,
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, for sure. Shoot Oscar a message too.
Yeah. Whatever footage you guys get
Right.
comes my way.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Oscar, for inviting us. And I'm sorry I had to get going, but I tried to stay as long as I
No
could.
worries. No worries. I appreciate you coming on, man.
And let us know when you're about to start releasing stuff. Like I did one little short video, and Brian was like, "Hey, don't post that yet." So like once you're good to go, I just got like it's just like us, fighting in the background, and the your emblem and our emblem, just trying to help
Oh,
promote
dope.
whatever, whenever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'll let you guys know
cool.
at any
All right.
point.
Well, I'll see you guys later, and have a good day.
See you,
All
Jim.
right. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you.
The only other thing I had was that like I was trying to write a scary story one time, and it all stemmed around my friend Bryan buying a house. And when he moved in, he found a dead cat in the sump pump. And I was like, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm,
Yeah.
I think that right there let's just base a story off of that. And I don't think I got
That
it
or
very
the
far.
watchers you guys all experienced.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
the watchers were crazy just in the fact that everybody experienced it in your guys' area, you know?
Yeah.
Like it makes me want to go to that area. Like just take a trip out there and see. I know you said that nothing happened afterwards, but just to like get that full picture
Yeah.
of it,
I
maybe even talk to
remember.
the town.
Right. Yeah. I remember talking to Bryce, our friend Bryce, and Jim and Aaron, and them saying something about them not being gone and that they saw him, and I was like, I don't know, but because I mean I've been up there and haven't seen anything, but I don't know if I don't know somehow like sometimes I feel like when it's kind of like leaving like Peter Pan if he ever left Neverland, like
Yeah.
he started to grow up. Like I don't know if maybe I've gotten to a point where I've left Neverland and like my mind's not letting me believe certain things anymore, or not letting me see things. That's
Yeah.
maybe why I've been kind of cut off from a lot of the things that from before. But I mean, I see the UFOs, so
No,
there's that.
I was thinking since you said that you didn't see anything there, but some people still said they saw stuff. I was thinking, well, maybe it did close for a while, but so many people went there wanting it to like things to happen that things just kind of opened right back up.
That's true. It could have done that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that I still know the people that manage it, so maybe I can manage to
Yeah.
uh to talk my way into getting up there one night. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, if
and
you
I'll
do,
report back.
yeah, let me know. And if
Sure.
I ever make a trek, if I ever make a trek through that area, I'm gonna go there, and then you're gonna have to take me to that area.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll go to the school.
Yeah.
We'll go to the park, the trailer park.
Yeah,
We'll have
wherever you saw UFOs, I'm gonna
Oh
have
yeah.
to know. I'm gonna have to see these things, man. I'm gonna have
Oh
to see
man.
these
Yeah.
things.
Oh yeah. We'll do that. We'll go to like. I mean, everybody's got a crybaby bridge, but we've got one out here too,
Oh,
and
sweet.
it's in a very creepy area. So, I mean,
Of
just
course,
going
it
for
has
that,
to be.
it's great.
Yeah,
And it's awesome. There's all kinds of graffiti and stuff too, like the pentagrams and stuff all over the place. It's awesome. Like I don't even
sweet.
know the people that live like right across the bridge and like just right there. They
Yeah,
have to be sick of all the kids coming up there and painting it. But I think they've gotten to the point where they're like, I don't give a shit anymore.
yeah.
Just
It's part of
every time we go out
the
there and fix
local
it.
legends. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just got to keep it there because no matter what, that's gonna continue to go on. You know,
Yep.
those stories continue to like keep
Oh
going.
yeah. 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 Pigman Bridge, Crybaby Bridge, all of them.
Hell yeah. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, it's been a year in the making. I appreciate you sharing all the stories. I mean, at least I got a chance to build up more,
Oh yeah, for
through
sure.
the year. Yeah.
Got all kinds of good
Especially with
stuff.
the more UFO sightings.
Hmm.
uh,
And I appreciate you letting us come on.
yeah, of course, dude. You guys have always been awesome. I appreciate you. You're rocking the Para Homie shirt. Um, for anybody out there, you guys can find it online when I post the show. It'll be in the link tree. You got the cup right there as well. And you guys have always been so supportive. So I
This
was
cup's awesome.
more than happy to have you guys on.
Get your
Yeah.
merch. It's great stuff. This is a very comfy shirt. I know Jim, you couldn't see him, but he did say he was wearing his shirt when I was texting him earlier. So he's wearing his shirt. I got mine here, pair of homie shirt.
Hell
Good
yeah.
stuff, man.
Hell yeah.
You got good merch. I like it a lot.
Well,
Highly recommend it.
I appreciate you guys as always.
Anytime.
And for everybody listening, you can go and follow them at Mid Ohio Jedi Order, right?
We're at Mid Ohio Jedi Order on Instagram and at Mid Ohio Jedi Order _Jim. Also Instagram at Mojo Bros with a Z at the end there on YouTube. Uh, at Mojo on TikTok, at Mojo Jim on TikTok, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. I'll put all of your links down below too for everybody to
Thanks.
follow. If you guys listening have any stories that you want to share for yourself, if you have experienced the Watchers, you can let us know in the comments below or email inducedfearpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. It's all there. Um, and don't forget to ask questions and face your fears. Thanks for joining me, Bryan, and Jim on this episode of Induced Fear. Bye, guys.